tumekubaliana na Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga, tukasema tuunganishe Kenya, tuache ubaguzi, tuache chuki, tuache ukabila. Kenya ni nchi moja, sisi wote ni watu wa taifa moja, with a common destiny. Nairobi mnasema ndio ama mnasemaje? Mnasema tuungane? Hebu nione wale wanasema tunaungana pamoja tukitembea namna hiyo.
Rais ametuambia ya kwamba ili nchi yetu ipate maendeleo lazima tuunganishe jamii zote za Kenya. Tunaunga mkono muungano wa Kenya. Rais ameshikana na viongozi wote.
All right, the President and the Deputy President were in Nairobi yesterday to talk about the unity. You'll find a very interesting story on the Daily Nation saying that unity test Raila meant keep Ruto 2 of Nairobi, and they are highlighting the faces of Nairobi Senator Sifuna, Mbakasi East MP Babu Owino, Westlands MP Timothy Wanyonyi. They are claiming that there is a problem there by not seeing them present in that trip, or rather tour of the city. Senator Sigei, how is the unity going now?
So far, so good. Remember, this was signed only on the 7th of March. And the first engagement that the president did in public is what you just played out in the screen about yesterday. So from where I sit, the deal so far is achieving the objective that, quote unquote, it aimed at by the time it was being made public. Remember, we have had this engagement before, and as a young parliamentarian who joined Parliament now for the first time, I'm barely 2.5 years in Parliament. I know this is the 4th time that the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga is having an MOU. In this case, I'm using the MOU that was signed on the 7th with the president who is in office. We previously had him with Moi during the merger of his party with KANU. We had him with Kibaki. We had him with Uhuru. And now we've had him with Ruto. In this particular one, the arrangement is quite significant because I know we have had a reference to a mongrel of an entity that was said earlier on by my colleague here, referencing it to the comments by the president sometimes back. But again, what comes out is the desire and the need to bring people together as Kenyans. And that is the message that is just even said in his speech to the people of Nairobi when he was out yesterday. So I would say so far, so good.
So Senator, by the way, who wrote this deal?
The MOU?
Yeah.
The MOU was signed between President Ruto and the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga.
You know my question.
As to who wrote it,
yeah,
it was written by the two parties. UDA as a party with its representatives. I remember, I of course was present at KICC when the deal was signed, and the representatives
Senator,
of the two political parties. The representatives of the two political parties were present. The chairperson, the secretary general, the party leader, and
I saw
for purposes of UDA,
Senator,
for purposes of UDA, we had the national executive committee present that participated in the approvals of the text and content of that MOU. Similarly, you had my good friend, the Honorable Edwin Sifuna, in his opening remarks. In fact, he recognized and asked them to stand, the members of the National...
I'm sure, Senator, you had my question.
Central Governing Council.
Saying, we actually saw it on TV. It was live on TV, yeah?
And therefore, the question as to who wrote it, I've answered by saying the team from ODM and the team from UDA had their relevant party organs approved and was signed by the party leaders of the two parties.
I can see the signature. It's right here by... William
the President and Raila.
And Raila Odinga.
Yes.
So I'm okay with that?
Yes.
Do you know who wrote it?
The legal teams.
My answer is so simple, Sam. I have run you through the party organs. A document like this cannot be signed by the party without the approval of the relevant party organs. The people who wrote are the legal representatives of the two political parties and approved by the party relevant organs.
Legal representatives of the two?
Yes, for instance.
Of the two parties?
For instance, yes. For instance, under UDA, we have the legal director who sits in office in the party full-time. He, however, does not, at his capacity as an individual alone, cannot write such a thing. He probably would draft, subject it to the NEC for approval.
Surely, this is a simple question.
Okay, remove the word probably.
Do you know who wrote it or not?
Legal representatives of ODM and UDA.
Who are those?
In the case of the UDA party, is the director legal is Emmanuel Kibet.
Emmanuel Kibet?
Yes.
So Emmanuel Kibet wrote this?
I'm not saying he did it. I'm saying that is the legal person. You know, Sam, your question is very simple.
Yeah.
You're making it difficult for you to understand my answer. And it's so simple. For instance, I sit in a number of the party organs, right?
The reason I'm asking that is, what is the legal consequence of this?
Now you're putting it better. Political alignments, governance is actually on the basis of MOUs, understandings as to what is the objective of us coming together. This is an MOU where UDA and ODM are saying we would like to formalize in the form of an MOU the 10-point agenda that has been reflected there. This is goodwill between the two parties so that it is not about us just talking about it in the streets when we pick up the microphone and say, we want to do this. And that is why the President and Right Honorable Raila Odinga said, this MOU is not about us sharing positions. It was not hard for them to say...
Any legal consequence?
As regards to this document?
Yeah.
No, it is actually an MOU that is binding on the parties that came together to do it. It's not, it is not a partnership that can be registered, for example, before the political parties.
Even if either of the party doesn't honor this MOU, there's no legal consequence, is there?
That is what I said. In terms of a political arrangement, it is on the basis of goodwill and understanding. That is what made them...
If any of the parties here does not honor this 10-point agenda, there's no legal consequence.
That's true.
We do not say we anticipate that breach on our part.
Okay. Senator Onyonka, or you want to have a go at it?
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
I think it is true. It is true that if any of the parties do not honor, there are no legal consequences. But if you listen to Honorable Raila's statement, he said in his statement that to implement this will require goodwill and trust among the partners. And that is important. But I'm more interested in what is the implementation framework of this MOU? Because this MOU is more than, from where I sit, is more than handshake. It is a strategic approach to addressing these issues that people have been talking about. Even some of the issues that Senator Onyonka is talking about here today. One of the issues is strengthening and protecting devolution. If we are going to strengthen and protect devolution, then there must be goodwill from both parties, whether they're in opposition or in government, in terms of, you know, enhancing the funds that go to the counties, protecting those funds, the last penny. We have talked about corruption. We're talking about the general report now, how some money has been misappropriated.
So you believe this is going to happen? I
believe it should happen. Let me tell you something.
What do you mean should?
Because we have seen others that have never happened. Let me start from the government of national unity, Kibaki. You remember, while it was appraised and it was admired for trying to bring certain changes, there were issues of mistrust. And that's why the partners differed at some point. Then came Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, the handshake that some people argue it sidelined certain stakeholders. Then now came the MOU between Raila Odinga and President Ruto today. If this is to happen, Raila Odinga has said, then there must be some trust among the partners.
So question for you, Fred.
Go.
It is not possible to protect and strengthen devolution without this document?
It is possible, but the current political scenario where we are in, it requires that we go away. In fact, the wording was, we stop being people who use bystanders. We stop being bystanders and go dive into the work. And I'll tell you something, Sam, that for me as a Kenyan, I believe...
Dive into what work?
We have issues in this country, and you all agree with me, that the issues, when the young people went to the streets, one of the reasons that they were putting on the table is that they're unemployed.
Surely, Fred,
has it been
I have asked you a question about
stopping
devolution, which you're saying,
yes,
it is possible to do it without the current MOU, but you require political goodwill to dive into the work.
Exactly.
Dive into what work?
It requires political goodwill from the opposition benches and government benches to agree and ensure that the funds that are required is not less than at least 20%. That is a recommendation that has been put. And it was in the NADCO report. For you to pass those bills in the NADCO report that has recommended some of these issues to strengthen institutions, you need both parties on board. Number two, the young people that have been saying...
20% of all?
I am saying at least 20% of the audited accounts, the money that should go to the counties.
But that's not the Constitution.
That is the proposal that was put on the table. So that you strengthen devolution, you increase at least 15%. But the governors have been saying that money is not enough. What was the proposal from the public? Increase it. So if you are to pass those in parliament, those legislative instruments, you require both parties. Number two, the issues that they prioritized.
What legislative instrument?
Are you aware that there are bills, at least 8, that were annexed on the report of NADCO? You're aware, right? One of those bills had proposed the increment of that money that goes equitable share that go to the counties from at least 15 to 20%.
What would that require?
That would require a bill being passed in parliament to amend that section of the Constitution. I don't think it's required referendum. It doesn't require. It's not part of the 255.
Okay, I'll check with Senator.
So let me just finish so that you proceed. The other issue that in my view, political stability in this country is very important.
Can I come back with you on that? But Senator Nyonka, so your party has entered into a deal with the governing party, UDA, and I'm sure you have gotten time to consume what exactly is in the deal. How far does that take us from the current situation?
Nowhere. What happens if the president disagrees with Raila? Nowhere. There's no legal framework for all these things. You've just said yourself. What is happening? If this is not honored, if this is not implemented, what do? I mean, we don't need any document that is going to be signed in by anybody to show how we are going to increase shareable revenue from the current 15% to 35%, which in the opposition, when we were having our elections running, that's what we were saying. We said we need to increase the money to the county governments. We said we have to have good governance. We said we need to stop the corruption in the country. Chapter 6 needs to be ring-fenced and strengthened. Sammy, let me say this. For me, this agreement is good for PR. It makes Kenyans relax because the president and Raila have now become friends. You remember when the elections were taking place, what they were calling each other. You remember what has been going on for the last 3 years since the president won the elections, the issues which are outstanding. My honest feeling, this whole, and what the beauty of it, and I love it so much, is when the president was speaking in London at the Chatham House. You remember what he said? So it was so clear that the moment you begin to introduce this handshake thing, then you create this mongrel. The mongrel is very simple. The National Assembly, or let me say, call it Parliament, I mean, has already been swallowed.
It does not stop.
You see what I'm saying? So the oversight role we are supposed to be playing is inconsequential. Then you move to the next level. Look at what the Constitution describes what our responsibilities and what is our job actually. Go and see what the role of an MP is. Now, MPs, senators, governors have become tenderpreneurs. Now everybody is running around doing business in county governments, national government. That is what everybody is preoccupied with. And yet, issues like transfer of functions. Functions should be followed with the money, which you don't need an agreement with these two gentlemen to do that. You don't, I mean, what do you need an agreement to agree on since you are not sharing that money individually? This is what is good for the Republic. These are things which we should do.
Can you listen to what the president said?
Yes.
Back in the day, I believe this was on 7th of January 2023.
Yes.
Let's listen.
I want a vibrant opposition. How did we get here? We got here because of the handshake nonsense. We got here because you get the opposition, which is supposed to hold the government to account, into some illegal, cohabitation, or whatever it was called, in the name of unity. What unity? Who says by having an opposition, we're not united?
Okay, I'm not laughing at what the president is saying. It's what Senator Nyonka is saying here in studio. But let's listen to what the president had said in March 2022. That time he was the deputy president. He was campaigning to be president.
The result which you see today in Kenya, there is no government and there is no opposition. Today in Kenya, you have a mongrel of a governance system. You don't know whether it is the government that is in the opposition or the opposition is the one that is in government.
So he said that about 5 months before he was elected president. About 9 months after, actually 5 months after he was elected president, he said that you cannot have, that's what he's referring to, he wants a vibrant opposition. 4th of April 2023, he said this about what mongrels look like.
The handshake that brings the opposition and government into some conundrum and a mongrel and an outfit that is undemocratic, unconstitutional, and illegal.
So, Senator Sigei, undemocratic, sorry.
It was me next.
Sorry. Honorable Wandeto, undemocratic, unconstitutional, and illegal.
Kagame was embarrassed.
So this was something different from what has happened now?
No. Actually, what again we have done is something that is undemocratic, it's unconstitutional, and it's illegal. And some, if you look at the 10 point of the MOU, and I would like to just basically deconstruct them very, very quickly. Other than number 1, which talks about the NADICO report, from number 2 to number 10, I am wondering what it is that Raila Odinga brings on board to enable the country achieve the items that are tabulated in number 2 to number 10. I'm also wondering what it is that the government lacks to be able to implement these things. I think the government is facing significant headwinds from Kenyans. That's the truth. Ask the average man on the street, whether in Bomet, whether in Gishu,
whether in Kisii,
the average man on the street is feeling disenfranchised, is feeling unhappy. Mm-hmm. And I think for me, this agreement is nothing more than a political propping up of a government that is no longer able to face its people based on the promises it made versus the reality that Kenyans are facing every day. If I look at this 10-point agenda, if you look at number 2, which talks about equitable budget allocations, yeah? That one is very well covered in Chapter 12 of the Public Finance Act. Mm-hmm. If you look at number 3, which talks about, again, devolution, that one is in the whole of Part 2 of the Constitution, and it is very, very detailed. The drafters of our Constitution, almost now, 15 years ago, had the foresight of how they would like, this thing run. If you look at, number 4, investment in youth, again, they talk about, the opportunities for all. If you look at leadership, integrity, an end of opulence, this is chapter 6 of the Leadership and Integrity Act. If you look at, number 6, which is the right to peaceful assembly, this is very well, entrenched in, in Article number 37. And there's nothing new. If you look at, number 7, which is the audit of national debt and how it is used, Sam, let me just quickly.
Maybe it's important to restate commitment.
I'll come to that. But if you look at, again, audit of national debt and how it is used, this is very well covered in part 3, of, chapter 12, part 3 of the Constitution. They talk about how this is managed.
Yes.
If you look at fighting corruption, again, we go back to leadership and integrity. Act. If you look at, stop wastage of public resources, again, chapter 6 of, of the Leadership and Integrity Act. If you look at protecting the sovereignty of the people, which was the last point, ending abductions, rule of constitutionalism, and respect to press freedom, which is something I know that touches you people. And in the recent past, we've seen journalists being roughed up, left, right, and center as they do their work. The right to life, Article 26 of the Constitution, the freedom of conscience, of assembly, of speech, 32, 33 of the Constitution. So I sit here and I wonder, what are these instruments that we lacked to do the right thing as a government? Mm-hmm. Yet these instruments were handed to us by the drafters of our Constitution, some of whom have gone ahead of us. May God rest their souls in eternal peace. And in their wisdom, they wrote such a fantastic document that is now, a benchmark world over. What are these additional instruments? So I think, for me, I do not see the sincerity of this MOU because I do not see what it is supposed to achieve. Like I've said, it's a political propping up. It is trying to silence the masses. That is why Fred Okango, my good brother, I can quote him as an example. When we used to come here with him a few months ago, he would be guns blazing. Now you can see he is calm.
But you two, you're on the other side.
Collected.
That time you're defending the government.
I'm talking about Fred. My time. Fred can talk about me if he wishes.
Okay, I'll talk about me.
But you can see,
talk of the law,
tables have turned. You saw what we saw, in some of the rallies in parts of Nyanza. And I think all we are trying to do is to calm the anger of Kenyans. But we are calming them with talk, because when they go home, they face the same daily hardships in life. They are
you don't see the value in the following sentence, Honorable Ndeto, that the two leaders commit and resolve to collaborate and cooperate with each other by conducting broad-based consultations between themselves on the key issues identified.
Who took the oath of office? Which oath of office did Raila Odinga take? Who took the oath of office to protect press freedom? Who took the oath of office to protect the Constitution? Who took the oath of office? Is it Raila Odinga? So where does Raila Odinga come in this equation? But the truth of the matter is, Raila Odinga has become some sort of oxygen or life support machine. He was for Moi, he was for Kibaki, he was for Uhuru. So
he's now with William.
He seems to be doing it well. Okay. And, but it has nothing to do with the 10 points basically raised here. But from where I sit, Sam, though I'm not sure this is going to bring any change, since I'm not, concerned with, bread-based government.
Surely it's broad-based.
Sorry.
It's bread-based.
Sorry, that was a slip of the tongue.
Broad.
Okay. So
I really expect this to be a very objective, serious conversation.
Yeah.
And
okay, Sam has corrected me.
No.
So, see, the broad-based government I think we can wish them well. And
Okay.
if this will make Shah work,
Yeah.
well and good.
Surely.
If this will bring an end to abductions, so be it. If this will improve the welfare of Kenyans, if this will improve, will bring more money to the pocket, well and good. But some, from where I sit,
You don't see it.
my little knowledge of public finance, of governance, or whatever, I see no new ingredients that we are putting in this mix that would give us a different result from what we are seeing.
All right. Senator Sigei, so the president in April 2023, less than 2 years ago, thought of handshakes to be a conundrum, a mongrel of an outfit that is undemocratic, unconstitutional, and illegal. What has changed? And how different is what the president and the former prime minister signed from what he was describing then?
This document which you have read, the document which my friend Wandeto has run us through, the 10-point document, there is nothing illegal in it.
Nothing?
Illegal in it.
Nothing illegal?
Yes, he said this is an illegal document. There is nothing illegal in this particular MOU. There is nothing undemocratic in this particular document. One of our constitutional edicts is to allow Kenyans exercise their democratic space. That is Article 38 of the Constitution. This MOU is not a power-sharing document, right? This MOU is an understanding on how
Are there
the
members
two
from
leaders...
previously the minority in government today?
I will answer you that. Allow me to run. This is not a power-sharing document. It is not a coalition. Actually, that was expressly the comments made. This is what the president and the deputy and Raila Odinga, in the last paragraph, the two leaders shall deploy their political infrastructure to examine the above matters, the 10 points that they spoke about, including now the preamble of this particular document, and any other issues which are not necessarily listed here, requiring their attention, and shall engage necessary expertise that will assist them to address the matter arising. Therefore, when the goodwill and the understanding exist between these two political formations, nothing in law denies them that cooperation and working together to ensure that we run the country under...
So if the two leaders are going to deploy their political infrastructure, what is this infrastructure?
Now, political infrastructure, Sam, is the goodwill that the party called ODM and the party called UDA and those with goodwill and understanding of the same
How do you deploy
mindset.
Goodwill?
This is a party that speaks for millions of other Kenyans.
That is okay. I mean,
and that is actually exactly what you're saying.
The question I'm asking you.
Yes.
Deploy their political infrastructure to examine. How do you deploy goodwill to examine?
When we speak about NADCO, for instance, Sam, it had members of Azimio and members of UDA. The political infrastructure that came in there is, when we have identified the 8 or 10 issues we want to discuss, we reach out to our supporters, get their views. Whatever document that we come up with is a reflection of not the political leaders, but of the people of Kenya who will have been asked
Surely, you're
to
not answering
comment.
the question. Political infrastructure, what are you talking about? Because ODM is a political party.
Yes.
UDA is a political party.
Yes.
They have their organs on how things are managed. They have arms, whether it's the parliamentary group on this side and this other side. So what infrastructure is this that the two leaders are going to deploy?
And by the way, it's not that we do not have an opposition anymore.
No, that's
We
not the question
have
I'm asking.
the leader
What is
of
this political
minority in
infrastructure?
parliament.
Senator, what is this political infrastructure that the two leaders are going to deploy?
I have told you, Sam, that when we sit down as UDA, ODM sits down as ODM, parties come together and say, of the 10 points, when we talk about, for example, the aspect on creation of employment, ensuring that we protect devolution, ensuring that we implement the NADCO report. It can only happen in an environment where political leaders are agreeable that this is happening in the interest of Kenyans, then political infrastructure means us as two different political formations investing in those interests
what is that?
For the people of Kenya.
Is it the National Delegates Conference that is going to do this work? What infrastructure are you talking about?
The infrastructure
the duty bearers?
Talking about here is a political party that has ideas, that has members in parliament, that has supporters who, by dint of
because the supporters are not
decision-making,
going to sit down and review the laws that we have in the country, who will?
You know, supporters made their voice when they elected leaders. We speak, for example, in parliament for and on behalf of our people. People, or the democratic space in Kenya, and representation of the people can be direct or indirect through
in this case,
their elected representatives.
In this case, the people directly,
therefore,
elected representatives.
the political infrastructure that will be deployed by the political parties involved in this case is the goodwill that has been given to the representatives who've been elected.
So in short,
and
in instances, the members of parliament from UD and ODM, is that what you're saying?
In instances that we will be required to take it to the public, then we engage the stakeholders and get reports.
Are you saying the members of parliament from UD and
that is
ODM?
Part of the infrastructure that will be available
so
to political
what's
parties.
Stopping them? Because they sit in parliament today, what's stopping them from doing what exactly you're saying here?
They need to have...
They're both in parliament. They're the minority and majority party in the House. What's stopping them?
They need to have a structured form of engagement,
structured
like has
parliament?
been done in this particular case. I mean, there are political parties. ODM represents the ODM as a political party. Of course, including what we've done there.
Which institutions can pass policies that have the force of law in the country?
Almost across the board. We've got parliament in this case now as a politician, as a political space. Parliament legislates
in the country,
yes.
Isn't it?
Parliament legislate, and they don't just they do not just legislate by the way, by dint of what they desire as members of parliament. Every legislative proposal that comes before parliament is taken out to public participation. In this public participation,
Senator,
Kenyans fully participate by giving their opinions,
Senator, I see what you're
views.
doing to me, and it's fine. Senator Nyonka, tell me, what is this political infrastructure that you're being told about? He mentioned parliament.
I want to say this unequivocally.
Yeah.
This agreement is a waste of our time, money, resources, and anything else that this republic needs. The facts and the issues that are affecting our country are clearly known. We are an overtaxed country. We are overwhelmingly corrupt. We have dismembered all the institutions that are supposed to manage and control our behavior. We are now attacking the controller of budget and the Auditor General. We have allowed county governments to wantonly break the law. Some of the governors have done excellent work. Very few of them, majority of them are pilfering funds, misusing those funds, and deliberately, because the ESCC and DCI have been deconstructed and they have basically been made useless to follow up or even to create the element of deterrence. And we are busy talking about how these two gentlemen who are national leaders are walking around and moving around discussing how they want to fix the country. How do you fix the country when you are the very, very same ones creating the same mongrel? This mongrel they are creating is the same mongrel both of them are talking about. Raila has talked about it. President William Ruto has talked about it, that the reality we have in our country is very simple, Sam. We are refusing to govern ourselves within the law. We are refusing to be responsible, to respect our behavior. We are refusing to devolve functions which need to go to the county governments so that those functions can be followed by funds. I mean, every single event that is taking place in our country is basically just every single day. I keep seeing our country how it's becoming a banana republic. That we now want to get rid of the Chief Justice and the judiciary. To me, what the President William Ruto is doing and what Prime Minister Raila is doing, as far as I'm concerned, that's a business. That's a business. Because even ODM as a party, when this decision was being made, I'm a senator. Nobody called me to ask me what my view was. And I brought in my vote from the Kisii people, Kisii County. All right? And the reality that I face, Honorable Sige, is very simple. Why do we find it so difficult, Sami, to understand, for example, that our responsibility in Parliament, we have failed. We have completely failed.
But maybe, Senator, you'll be involved because there's the political infrastructure that will be deployed. Maybe that's where you come in.
Which infrastructure?
I don't know.
I'm not interested.
He says part of you,
no.
Members of Parliament.
No, some of us are not interested. The Constitution is clear. If it's implemented, it will actually guide us what to give to the Kenyan public. We have deliberately been the people who are in that parliament and in the executive who are dismembering this katiba. We are the ones who, Sami, I mean, how many times do we refuse to deal with court orders? How many times have people been asked to produce kids who have been abducted? Mm-hmm. All right? And their rights are being violated. You don't need Prime Minister Raila and William Ruto to be friends for you not to abduct people. All right. How much debt have we incurred? We talked about the government came in and found the coffers were empty. Mm-hmm. Then we discovered, of course, the coffers were not empty. Then we realized our debt have shifted from where it was with Kibaki, which was 1.9 or 1.8 trillion. Yep. Now Uhuru hit it up to 7 trillion. And basically now we are realizing we have a debt of 13 trillion in a period of what, 3 years? Do you need Prime Minister Raila and William to shake hands for you to stop wanton destruction of our country, wanton borrowing, where the Auditor General has come up and said, listen, some of the money that these people are borrowing, I don't even know where the money is. I mean, you don't need a handshake for you to stop those things.
Okay, and part of the commitment here is to ensure that there's rule of law and constitutionalism.
So you are telling me that when we take Prime Minister and William shaking hands, we will observe the law?
That's what the document is.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Please don't ask me questions.
That document means...
I may not have the answer.
That document is as pathetic.
Yes. I think maybe we need to divorce ourselves from politics a bit and be objective as we discuss this.
Yeah.
Senator Onyonka here is a senator.
Yeah.
And by that much, he's a member of parliament. And you see, he represents a people that he wants the best for them. And I agree with him. This document has highlighted all those issues that he's saying. What Senator Onyonka is not telling us, how do we, if all these things are there, how do we implement it to the benefit of the public? He sits in Parliament, the Senate. Wandeto sits in the National Assembly. One of his roles is to deliberate and address issues of concern to the people. His people are suffering. When there's a debt ballooning, it affects his people. How does he want the country to address the issue of debt? That is what he should tell the public. But going back to that document, because we're talking about it, this document has also said that the two leaders are committing to uphold the Constitution and the rule of law in implementing this. So that means...
You need a handshake for that.
So what that means, what Senator Sige was actually saying earlier, is there a framework that will enable the two leaders to implement this? In my view, there should be an implementation framework. That implementation framework will require the structure that we're talking about. One of the structures is where the three gentlemen sit, Parliament. Structure number two will be the political parties that must go to the people and explain to the people the contents of that information. And number three, Sam.
What information?
The information that will come with the implementation of this. We're talking about strengthening devolution.
Surely, we are struggling to find the details here.
No, Sam.
How will that transition to information to the
whatever
public?
You have there, Sam, is a MOU, a document, a few pages.
Yes.
For that document to be implemented, it must be extracted and now taken into details. Because they are saying...
Has that happened?
It has not happened.
When will it happen?
So that's what I'm saying. I believe...
Are there timelines in this thing?
That's another thing I'm going to. Because it requires timelines, it requires implementation framework.
Are they there?
And it requires the goodwill. Whether they are there or not, we are saying they should be there for this to work.
No, Fred.
No, Sam.
Do you know if there are timelines?
I am saying there should be timelines. And I am saying there must be implementation framework. We are playing politics with this thing while we know.
Do you know if there are timelines?
I don't know, but I'm saying they should be there. Let me finish now.
Yep.
The issue of abduction. everyone agrees in this country that we must stop abduction.
Yep.
The president himself said that that must end. Raila Odinga constantly has always said that that is one of the issues that must stop. In that document, it has been highlighted. How are we going to stop it if we don't address it fully, Senator Nyonka? How are we going to stop it if we don't talk about it? So how are we going to address the issues of...
Sorry, sorry, I'll come to you, Senator. Fred, how will it be stopped based on this document?
Now, the two leaders have identified a problem that Kenyans have been talking about all through. It is true people are being abducted.
So it was known, even before this...
Yes, it was known. It was known, and that's why they are acknowledging. So if they have acknowledged,
what is the
then they must go and take action. One of the actions they must take, they must identify who are the abductors. Where are they abducted?
Who should establish
and why
that?
are they being abducted? The institutions that we have, the DCI, the NIS, all those institutions must do that. It requires political goodwill. It requires political goodwill to do that.
Fred,
because I think we are captured.
Does it require these two signatures for, you said DCI, NIS, and who else?
And any other
Does it require signature for them to work?
I don't think so.
It has been completely
I don't think so. The signature is just ownership, to own the document. So it's neither here nor there. That's it. But Sam, I feel pained when we play politics with issues of concern.
Which politics?
Politics means, you know, Senator Onyonka said...
Fred.
No, just solo Senator. Senator Onyonka said that he is not interested. You know, this is a member of ODM. He is not interested. And he said that he was not consulted. When Senator Onyonka goes to Amunyoro, did he consult his party?
Fred.
Just hold on.
We are not talking about Gachagua here. Look at this nonsense. Sam, can we please get back to reality?
The issue is consultation.
You know he comes from ODM.
Yes. So
consultation.
He sits in the House.
Sam,
yes, he sits in the House.
Sam, let me ask you: when Raila went to meet William, did he consult me as my party leader?
I don't know. You asked. You are his party leader. You are his member.
Your argument has to be consistent.
I vote Onyonka because Onyonka wants to have his cake and eat it. He cannot.
Sam,
I am very objective, and my objectivity is that the issues raised in the MOU are substantive. We all agree there are issues that can be addressed. Now the question is, and you have been asking us, how do we address it? And I've said, we need an implementation framework. You ask, who are the draft of this MOU? Senator Sigei asked you. They could be legal officers of these two representatives. So if they are there, then we need to go and interrogate further.
You don't know.
Where is
do you know the
implement? I don't know them. Where is the implementation framework?
Let's
when we see the implementation framework, then Onyonka can say it is possible or not possible. But we cannot come and play politics here.
Okay.
You don't. You
Senator,
see, the problem with my brother Fred is that Fred, now I'm on the opposite side. We've been with you in ODM, fighting for ODM things and defending ODM.
He's actually in Kanu.
He's in fact in something else I don't know. Let me explain to you. Fred, the Constitution allows me to associate and then link myself. I did not say I'm leaving ODM, neither did I say...
The same Constitution allows Raila Odinga.
Hold on. That's what I'm saying. Allow me. Let me tell you this, my brother. This agreement has nothing to do with what Kenya wants to become.
What does Kenya want to become?
A democratic state that observes the rule of law, that protects human rights for everybody in the republic.
Does the document highlight that?
You have asked me a question. That is a document, it's not the Constitution. What I'm trying to bring you to, and you are educated. You see, sometimes I wonder what happens with political operators like you. I am not attacking Raila. I am not attacking Raila. I'm not attacking William. What I'm telling them...
You are playing politics, Senator.
No,
you are playing politics.
But what is my job? Is to
Your
play
job
politics.
is to play politics that to the benefit of the public.
Kenyans
what you are saying does not work.
The
reality is there are issues of concern, and they must be addressed,
Those
Senator.
issues can be addressed by the Constitution being implemented.
And yourself sitting in the Senate.
You have got every member.
Okay.
Look at the way people in ODM are behaving. How power is sweet. How, in fact, the control of budget...
Interesting, I'm not even a member.
How, in fact, what are they talking about? They have now tested blood. And what we are saying is, we don't want any leader to test blood. The Constitution tells us what to do. We have refused to basically implement that Constitution, follow that Constitution, for us to begin having handshakes, which basically are about two individuals, yes, who are leaders who are highly respected. And yet the reality is very simple. We continue borrowing. We are overtaxing Kenyans. We have got cases where the judiciary is basically being dismissed as if they have no role to play in our republic. We don't have an IBC. We don't, I mean, Sam,
okay.
This is what breaks my heart. You don't need Prime Minister Raila and William Ruto to sign an agreement.
Who do you need?
For us to strengthen Chapter 6.
Who do you need?
What you need is for the country, the presidency, the members of parliament to follow the law. And right now, nobody follows the law. They only follow the law when it's convenient.
Okay. All right. Good point to leave that topic at. Sorry, Mheshimiwa Ndeto has been very quiet for so long. And Mheshimiwa Ndeto, so we understand that this week committees will be electing their leadership chairpersons and vice chairpersons.
Yes.
But did you attend the parliamentary group meeting of Kenya Kwanza?
Unfortunately, no.
Why?
I had another engagement.
You didn't find it important?
It is an important
Have you been
function.
attending the previous ones?
Yes, I've been attending the previous ones.
So this one, why not?
I just happened to have an engagement that I could not step away from.
Okay. So there is a circular, is it a memo, is it a letter from the leader of minority to members of the minority party telling them on who should be elected to what positions? And there's even a warning that should that not be done, there will be disciplinary actions taken against whoever is... let me just read it out. It says that I kindly comply with the above party position and note that any disobedience will be dealt with firmly.
Yes.
Thank you and congratulations for the new leadership positions in the National Assembly. That is by Junet Mohammed, the leader of Minority Party at the National Assembly. Have you seen that communication? And so what will you be doing shortly?
I've seen the communication from the leader of Minority. I am still looking whether there is a similar communication from the leader of Majority. But I think what the leader of Minority was doing was basically letting us know what has been agreed behind the scenes in terms of committee chairmanship. And I think this is an extension of this MOU or this new rapprochement that we are seeing between the government and the opposition. I think from where I sit, the party lines or the party hardliners will follow those positions. And out of this, we have lost quite a number of positions. And here, allow me to speak, you know, on behalf of the allies of the former deputy president.
Right.
Previously, we had Gathoni Wamushomba sitting in the National Cohesion Committee. We had Wanjiku Mohea chairing the Regional Integration Committee. We had James Gakuya chairing the Trade Committee, Karemba chairing Labour, and so on and so forth. And all these have been replaced with members of the opposition. And perhaps the most significant and the most consequential is the chair of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, which we are, again, reliably informed that that may be going again to the ODM brigade.
Right.
So it's a sad day. It's a sad week. What happened last week and this week is sad. Some myself, I've told you, I have 3.5 degrees. However you wish to understand that. However you wish to understand that. I'm an expert in systems. I'm an expert in finance.
Yes.
That is what I've done over the last 20 years.
And which is your committee now?
My skill set perfectly fitted with the two committees I was in previously. I was a member of the ICT committee, where my chairman would attest that I made significant contribution. I was a member of the Public Investments Committee, where my chairman would attest that I made significant contribution. But as it may be, they have not found any use of my skills anymore in that. They have now taken me to regional development. I have to...
So you had two committees, now
I have two committees, now I have one. And I'm not the only one who is a victim of that. We had people who are previously in very powerful committees.
So what will you be doing at regional development?
I think the regional development role Sam, it's like a mortician.
It's like, yeah.
I'm actually, we are morticians.
It's like a mortuary.
So sorry, this is a job he has gotten.
Yeah.
What did he do?
I would liken it very closely to the job of a mortician, because regional development deals with some of the organizations that the government has proposed to be closed. So basically, we are helping to move them from mortuary to the grave. But we will do it because I love my country. We will do it in an orderly way. I will put all my effort there. You know, in regional development, some of the things like Kerio Valley development, we will see how we bring them to an orderly closure, because that is what...
Would you be seeking to be chair of the Regional Development Committee?
Am I likely to be chair? I have no intentions of running.
Yeah.
But I'm not even, by there, I've not even really checked who is whatever. I think there will be a meeting this week. So that's what we are waiting for. Okay. And then I'll get to know my colleagues. But wherever I'm taken, I will shine. I will shine. I will do it very well, even in that new job. But we have lost significant brains at the altar of political.
That you've been taken to a committee. You don't even know who your colleagues are.
I have read a few. I know a few of them. Yeah. I know a few of them. But I'm saying in terms of who become chairman, I've not seen whether there is whatever. But anyway, Sam, the reality of the matter is we've lost very good skills at the altar of political expediency. We've lost brains that were helping this country, you know, just simply because they do not toe the line. But we accept our fate, and, you know, we live to fight another day.
Okay, I want us to take a look at the editorial cartoons on the Daily Nation and the Standard. And on page 17 of the Daily Nation, if I may begin with that, can you put that on screen? Yeah, so there it is. So the first image, there is a car. It's branded Jubilee, Mbele Pamoja, and there's a man standing on, sitting on the steering wheel, but also the head is popping out of the car. I don't know who that is. So this car has no wheels, and above what looks like a cliff, there's a drawing of a man in a kofia kubwa. Then the following picture is that the Jubilee car, so the driver is still there, still driving with the head out of the windscreen. The man on the cliff with the kofia kubwa is now in the back seat. Mm-hmm. No, actually sharing the driver's seat. The wheels are still not there. Yeah. Then there's another image of what looks like a yellow wheelbarrow and a bag written KK. There's a man driving it, and the same man on the previous cliff is again here wearing kofia kubwa. Then you see the man with the kofia kubwa is now driving the... Do you drive a wheelbarrow? Sorry, you ride. Sorry, you push. Pushing the wheelbarrow, and the man who was pushing it is no longer there. Senator Sigei, what is this?
Political life support. This is what we earlier on spoke about when we introduced this conversation here. Yeah. That Raila Odinga has had handshakes with the previous 4 presidents of the Republic of Kenya. Mm. The cartoon is a description of the handshake between former President Uhuru Kenyatta and Right Honorable former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. Yeah. The second one is also a description of now the MOU existing between now President William Ruto and Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. In the 2 cartoons, in my own interpretation, the first one, of course, is showing us a motor vehicle without wheels. Mm. And even in the second one, similarly, it also does not have wheels, but of course it's got a driver and not a co-driver. I do not understand this. In this other one, it is being, the President William Ruto is pushing. In the second one, Right Honorable Amolo Odinga is pushing. Now,
you're ignoring the bag.
No, I'm headed there. Now, in the first one, there are no bags. In the second one, there is a KK written in some bag that has been, it's tied actually on its top, meaning there is probably something that is being protected in it there.
Okay.
I, as a Kenyan, and this is actually one of the things that I wish we had more time, because when we expand the negativity of the conversation that we are having, we lose the objectivity of it. In this case here, we actually cannot talk about the other previous two engagements. The handshake between Kibaki and Raila.
Not a handshake,
and
it was a coalition.
A coalition, sorry, between Raila and Kibaki, and also the coalition again between Raila and Moi. In terms of building,
it was a merger.
Unite the merger, and NLD, and of course KANU thereafter went the direction it went.
Can I quickly take a look at the one on the page 12 of the Standard? Let's just see what is happening there. You have a yellow car. It's indicated just handshake again. Then you have someone ushering the other into the car, and on the side you have a lady, Mwananchi, carrying a baby, and there's another baby carrying a shopping basket. They don't look happy. The two gentlemen look happy.
What I would want to say, Sam, is that let's give it to Raila for once in terms of the interest that over time he has pushed himself to say in the broader appreciation of the need to build Kenya and to have Kenya as a stable country.
Yep.
So that we don't go to the direction that the Honorable Onyonga was trying to say Kenya is a banana republic. We are not a banana republic. Okay. We have got people like Raila who are saying, I would sacrifice my interest at the personal level for the bigger picture of building Kenya as a united country that serves its people. This is my interpretation of all this.
Senator Onyonga, do you have something to say in 10 seconds about those two cartoons, the editorial cartoons?
Yes, I'll just say this. If it means that Raila meeting William Ruto makes Kenya a better country, I hope they make it better.
Yep.
But
thank you for
how I would wish that they stop these shenanigans of acting and pretending like they don't know what the problem of Kenya is. They know what can be fixed. They're just pretending. And they want to pretend until the next elections, then they now play around, the usual stuff. Okay.
Fred.
I think this cartoon, for me, my interpretation is the first one on the Daily Nation. The driver, the initial driver is no longer now the current driver. So it means there was a better driver. You go to the next one, the initial push of the wheelbarrow is no longer the now pusher. There's a better pusher. When you go here, on the Standard, the person ushering the new driver into the car is a different one from the first one. So it means there's always a better person who can help you get things better. And I think Expert Wandeto would agree with me. And that's why
okay.
Can just agree and we can move on.
Yeah, I think from the cartoons, I just hope, like I said, this is life support machine. So I really hope the person providing these life support services does not switch them the oxygen off. Otherwise, there will be problems. So really,
is it about life really? It looks like it's a chauffeur thing because the theme on both is about someone who is riding or
exchange
pushing.
Of drivers.
About the same.
But you get my point.
It's okay. Thank you so much. I have to apologize that we are not able to go through the feedback of the morning, but we continue to see them and we'll be circulating them with the panelists here in studio. Up next is Matters Social with Safina Chengo-Uma. Thank you so much, Geoffrey Wandeto. Thank you, Senator Onyonka. Thank you, Senator Sigei and Fred. Good to see you again. My name is Sam Gituku. See you again some other time. Bye for now. Have a good day.